So we have a little tropical storm coming. I believe it's called Tropical Storm Isaias, which I'm not expecting anything too crazy, but I think we're supposed to get like 4 or 5 inches of rain, which is a bit extreme. I'm in a bit higher elevation, so I'm not really too worried about flooding, but I think there's definitely going to be some trees coming down now. I don't expect this storm to be anything like Hurricane Sandy. I'm not sure if any of you live in the Northeast and really experience the brunt and the force and the raw power of Superstorm Sandy, but that was something to be seen. I remember for Superstorm Sandy, I was at the fire department for that whole storm. You know, I belong to a volunteer fire department, and we get probably, well, at that point in time, we were getting probably 450 calls a year. And for Superstorm Sandy, in a matter of 2 days, we got 200 calls, which is almost half of what we get for a whole year. I saw some crazy things, I tell you. I really wish I had the video camera going for that. I saw primary and secondary lines arcing down to telephone lines. You know, that's one thing that freaks me out about touching wires is, you know, in the fire department, they train us to never touch wires, but I see a lot of guys, I hate to say it, but a lot of guys think that telephone wires are always de-energized, and usually they are, but you never know if a primary or secondary wire is like arcing down to the telephone wire. So we went out on a call. I forget what it was, that specific call, but we were going down the road. I think it was probably to a flooding call, and you know, we pumped out the basement of this house or whatever, and then we were on our way back. And we took the same route back as the route that we came. And so we were going down that route, and then a tree came down. It was like a 1-foot in diameter tree, so that blocked off our access back to the firehouse. Now there was only one way back besides that. So we tried going the other way, and lo and behold, an even larger tree, I want to say like a 3-foot in diameter tree, came down on that other way that we could have gone back to the firehouse. So we did something that we wouldn't ordinarily do. The smaller tree was the only one that we could handle with the chainsaws that we had on the truck, which on the trucks I think we have pretty much what I have. I think we had a like a 193T on the truck that we had out at that point. And like the power company, oh, forget about it. It would have taken them forever to get out, but tangled up in that tree that was blocking our way, the smaller of the two trees, was telephone wires. And I forget if there was a power line in there. I have a feeling there was a secondary line in there, which we weren't sure if it was live or dead, but we took a fiberglass pole and we very carefully lifted that power line up off the tree, and then we cut up the tree, and we eventually made our way out. But you know, under normal circumstances, we'd never do anything like that. But you know, just we were trapped. I mean, what choice did we have? And the scariest thing about it was with Hurricane Sandy, the winds were sustained at like 40, 50 miles an hour, and these trees were just coming down left and right. And I remember just looking up and like, God, I hope one of these trees doesn't come down on us. So, you know, like the only thing to do was to cut up the tree and make our way out, which we did, and thankfully we're all right. So I guess I'm just getting a little bit prepared here just in case I can't get back home, because I remember after my 2 days of volunteering at the fire department, I was trying to get back home. I eventually got back home, but like I was going down the normal road that I took to get back home, and there was a 4-foot in diameter tree blocking the road. Like nobody had a chainsaw that big. I don't think the town even had a chainsaw that big to cut up that tree. So I had to like take 6 detours to get my way back home. And from that, I've learned a little bit. Again, I'm not expecting anything major for this storm, but I'm definitely taking the 193T out in case, you know, I'm coming back home from work and there's a smaller tree that's not tangled up in wires that I can manage, and I can just cut it up and, you know, make enough of a path that I can get home and other motorists and emergency vehicles can get by. So, how you like my chainsaw case, huh? Cardboard box. There's some things in life that I have no problem dishing out money on, but for the life of me, I can't figure out why I won't spend 40 or 50 bucks on a plastic chainsaw case. I probably should, but cardboard box works. I must say I'm a little bit embarrassed. I thought I always had a tow strap in my truck, and in my F-150 I always carried it at least a cheap little, I don't know what this is rated for, maybe a 2,000 pound tow strap. I didn't have any kind of tow strap in that Chevy. So it's a good idea before you're expecting any kind of extreme weather or just in general, you know, go through your vehicle, see what you have in there. The reason I like to have a tow strap, at the very least, I'd really like to keep a chain in there, but I don't really have any good options for the chain right now. I could throw it in the back of the bed, but it'll rust a little bit in the bed, get rust stains in there, and there's a lot of people in the area with sticky fingers, let's face it, so I figured the chain may wander off, but at least I can throw this under the seat in the Chevy. But anyway, it's a good idea to have a tow strap for a couple reasons. One, in conjunction with a chainsaw, it can be a wonderfully powerful tool, because if your chainsaw isn't big enough to cut through the main trunk of a tree, if you can cut off like enough, and then you can hook a chain on like a section of the tree and just pull it off the road like enough to make a path so vehicles could get by, it's a good idea to have a tow strap. And also, if you get stuck and you see somebody else going down the road that has four-wheel drive and enough power to pull you out, you can pull them out. Or if a friend or family member, or even like a stranger on the side of the road is stuck and you feel like no help is really coming, you can at least have the option to help them out. Because, you know, people are crazy these days too. You know, you go to pull somebody out and you pull a little scratch in their bumper, and next thing you know, they're suing you for $2,000. So I'm still putting this in the truck. It's highly unlikely that I will need a chain, but you know how the weather people are. They like to put fear into your eyes. So I'm going to throw this box in the truck in a minute, so now I'll have two 15-foot lengths of chain. Unlikely that I'll need them, but it's nice to have something a bit stronger than that probably 2,000 pound rated tow strap. Again, you know, I'm probably over preparing, but you know, you guys know how it is. When you watch the weather and they say gusts possibly up to 72 miles an hour, I tell you, if we get 4 or 5 inches of rain and then we get some gusts at 72 miles an hour, there's going to be some pretty massive damage. But I think it's highly unlikely that we'll see winds that high. Perhaps in my area, I'll see wind speeds up to 45, 50 miles an hour, but you know, who knows? The storm is still like 24 hours out, and it's currently off the coast of Florida, I think, and they were expecting it to make landfall. If it makes landfall, then it weakens, but because it's off the coast of Florida right now and it's exposed to those warm tropical waters, I think it's intensifying, and it may in fact become a hurricane, which right now it's a tropical storm, so you know, it may intensify into a hurricane, but of course when it hits landfall it's going to drop back down to a tropical storm. But could be a major storm. I just want to be prepared. Alright, so I got the chainsaw in the truck. You know, it's not much. It's a, what is it, a 14-inch 193T. It'll get me out of some situations. Of course, if a 4-foot diameter tree comes down across the road, I don't know if I'm getting by. But I have the chainsaw. I have 30 foot of chain in there now. I have that smaller nylon tow strap. A couple other things that come to mind, you know, when we get these big storms coming in is drainage, sump pumps, flooding. I'm on the side of the hill, so I mean, flooding in the streets, not a factor, but it is possible that I could get some water in the basement. I haven't seen any water in the basement since I lived here. Somebody installed French drains, one of the previous owners, so I am lucky in that aspect. But there are 2 sump pumps in the basement, and it's a good idea to test them, and those should always have power going to them. And the way you test them is there are floats on the side of the sump pump. So if you take those floats and you rise them, you know, simulate that water was in the basement, rising and lifting up that sump pump float, it should turn on the sump pump. And I have 2 of them, so I should go downstairs and test both those out, make sure they're working. Also, there are catch basins in the road. I always take really good care of my catch basins, of course, because I work for a municipality. You know, that's part of our job to make sure that the catch basins are clear, you know, water management. So catch basins in the street, they're cleared off, just thought. And also backup power source. You know, I think it's funny, when Hurricane Sandy hit, you could not find a chainsaw, you could not find a generator, you could not find much gasoline, you could not find a gallon of bar oil, like anywhere. It's scary. When these things hit, they hit fast, they hit hard. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near Superstorm Sandy, but you know, just throwing the point out there that when we get these big events, a lot of people aren't prepared, and then everybody flocks to the store and they buy everything that's available. So, you know, a generator, saws, gas, like, do you have that? Are you ready to go? I mean, look at what happened with COVID-19. CDC recommended that you should wear a mask, and you know, as soon as they said that, boom, all the N95 masks were gone, vanished. So it's a good idea to be prepared. I ran this thing the other day, or well, probably about a month ago now. I like to run this generator twice a year, run a tank through it just to make sure, run it, make sure everything's working properly. I put a load on it, and it's good to, you know, get the fuel through the system twice a year. Of course, you could use the ethanol-free gas, but I use ethanol gas, and I use Stable, you know, the red stuff. Throw it in all my fuel, and I haven't had a problem. You know, you just got to make sure you run it from time to time. So, I think I'm pretty well situated. Got some extra gas for the generator. That's good. Yeah, I think I'm decently prepared. The only thing to do now is sit back, relax, let Mother Nature do her thing, and get ready for a very wet, probably pretty crazy day tomorrow. I think tomorrow evening is really going to be when it's hitting hard. So yeah, kind of exciting, scary, a little anxious. I've seen worse though. So. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.